Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's The 40 Principles of the Religion, the 40 Fundamentals, Al-Arba fi Usul al-Din. And we are still reading from the Seeking the Halal. And the very last story that we have read was about Bishr al-Hafi, and I said we have another story that I could add. But let's read again what he did not do in terms of piety. Another example of this is Bishr al-Hafi not drinking water from canals constructed by the rulers. And this is out of when it is said here that the rulers constructed the assumption here that they were unjust and that they basically collected unlawful money from the people. Or the other story is about his sister. She went to ask Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal whether it is permissible for her to spin wool at night using the public light coming from the torches that the guards, that the policemen held in the alleys. And at that moment, Imam Ahmad Hanbal asked her, who are you? She said, I'm the sister of Bishr al-Hafi. And he responded by saying, min baytikum yakhruj al-wara. Like you, it is from your house that piety comes forth, springs. Then Imam Al-Ghazali gives several other examples. Couple of them immediately after this. Another would, someone else used to put out lamps lit by his servants if they were from the home of an oppressor. Another would take medicine, and his wife would insinuate its dubiousness by pacing or moving back and forth. Then he would say, I do not know this walk, and I am watchful of all her movements. This is the level of the people who were true to Allah's statement, subhanahu wa ta'ala, قُلِ اللَّهِ ثُمَّ ذَرْهُمْ فِي خَوْضِهِمْ يَلْعَبُونَ. Say Allah, then leave them to play in their delving. I will read this about the medicine again. I would like to read it. Another would take medicine, and his wife would insinuate its dubiousness by pacing or moving back and forth. In Arabic, وشرب بعضهم دواء فأشارت عليه امرأته بالمشي والتردد. This meaning is not clear in the English translation. She suggested in the Arabic, فأشارت عليه, she suggested to him to walk back and forth. and he could not do that. That's uh, meaning that was not appropriate. So it's the English translation might be uh, does not really reflect the Arabic. I do not know this work, and I am watchful of all her movements, and I hold myself responsible for all movements. وحاسب basically there is uh, that dimension, being aware of a day of judgment, that there is a day of reckoning. Hence, they counted everything that was not for the sake of Allah alone as forbidden. Neither you nor the one advising you were built for this. So proceed gradually and persevere in fulfilling the piety of the just that the jurists rule on. In fact, you should add to these two strategies. One of them is to be careful with regard to positions of delusion and not to heed their statements. Their statements that say, whoever gives his wealth and wife at the end of the year and persuades her to give her wealth zakah is not obligatory for them. Obviously, there is something missing in the translation. Whoever gives his wealth and wife, whoever gives his wealth to his wife. And I'll explain what does it mean in a minute, inshallah. At the end of the year, uh, end of the year, end of a lunar year, a fiscal year, when you calculate your zakah and persuade her to give her wealth back to him, zakah is not obligatory for them. Okay. What it means it's of course when it says he gives his wealth and his wife, he gives up his wife. You give up your wealth and you distribute your wealth, and your wife. That obviously it's a grave mistake. What it means here is that if you have zakatable money, and before completing a whole lunar year where the zakah is due, you give the whole money as a gift to your wife. So your wife, now that's money for her that is لم يحل عليه الحول. Obviously, it's, let's say, the moment you give your wife the zakah, it's that day is her wealth is 1 day old. Then you convince her to give you that money back, and then again that wealth, you start from fresh. It's a new fiscal year because you have just gained that money on that particular day. Of course, if really the intention is to avoid paying zakah in this world, you can get away with it. But if you think that in terms of the hereafter, whether this could work, definitely not. That's the whole story. If they mean by this that the Sultan does not demand zakah from them because the scope of his interest is external authority, then this is true. The level of the jurists and their verdicts is to mention what relates to the external. Hence, they rule in favor of exemption from zakah if the collector's demand is withdrawn. Similarly, they rule for the validity of prayer behind the sultan if killing him is precluded due to his abiding by its form. ويحكمون بصحة الصلاة إذا امتنع القتل على السلطان بجريان سورة الصلاة. Okay, I think similarly, the rule of the validity of prayer behind the sultan if killing him is precluded due to his abiding by its form. The only one who is mentioned in this sentence is the sultan. And I think it's the meaning is the opposite. The meaning is that if you pray, that will preserve your life. And in this case, it's the form and it's not the essence. That's how the jurist would judge. And that if this basically preserves your life, then that's what it takes, the form of the salah. So it's not really about the killing the sultan. Because it's really about organizing the life of the community. Law is not in their power except the law that the sultan uses for politics and ordering the means of worldly life, which is merely a stop on the road, as mentioned earlier. As for you, if you think about what will benefit you tomorrow with the authority of authorities and the sultan of sultans, of course you talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you will not pay attention to this. Know that the purpose of zakah is to remove the base quality of stinginess, for indeed it is destructive. As the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, 3 qualities are destructive: stinginess that is obeyed, here the translation does not mention really the 3 qualities, the shuh muta'a wa hawa muttaba. Being obedient to stinginess, following caprice, and admiring oneself. These are definitely destructive. They are very problematic, except that now there's a big difference again between the content, which is absolutely in line with Islamic teachings. But the hadith itself, if we talk about the chain of narrators, it's very problematic because we have in within the chain of narrators, one of them is unknown, and that's enough to drop the authenticity of the chain of narrators. One of them, they have differences about him, and one of them was accused of lying. Uh, Mahfouz bin Bahr al-Antaki. It has been said that he used to lie. Uh, of course, it doesn't mean that every hadith that he narrated, he narrated for a lie. It doesn't mean that. And Al-Walid bin Abdul Wahid al-Tamimi is unknown. And there is a big story about Ibn Lahiyah. He was a judge in Egypt. So as a judge, he should be trustworthy, and he was, except that it seems that at an old age, he started mixing things. And there are other issues about the hadith. But again, the content is absolutely right, that these are very destructive forces. There's no doubt about that. Giving the wealth of zakah for the sake of putting it off makes stinginess obeyed. For indeed it becomes obeyed in that it obligates that which it misstates. Before this, it was not obeyed. So how can that be a means to salvation? Likewise, is he who treats his wife badly until she gives up her dowry to leave him. So he mistreats her. Between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is not permissible for him to take the dowry, even if a jurist rules for the cancellation of the dowry and the validity of her leaving, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and this is in Surah An-Nisa, فَإِن طَبْنَ لَكُمْ عَنْ شَيْءٍ مِّنْهُ نَفْسًا فَكُلُوهُ هَنِيئًا مَرِيًّا. But if they amicably return any of it to you, then take it and enjoy. It should be wholeheartedly. It should be really not without pressure on her, without demanding, without. Yeah. However, this is referring to amicableness within the heart, not simply of the gesture. But the jurist does not distinguish between the two affairs because his work is in ending external disputes and nothing else. Anyone would say, if someone mistreats a woman, then definitely you'd say to the woman, do give up. If it's really the money, it's nothing compared, to mistreatment. But this will not work on the day of judgment. The self is not made well through. And I think basically it is not made well through cupping, withdrawing blood really from the human being, or taking a nasty medicine. Rather, it is the heart that is made well. The same goes for everything that natural taste finds repulsive, but which reason desires for the ultimate welfare of the body, of course. This is the subject of a long chapter founded upon the principle that you do not make the wealth of another permissible for you, except with his or her pure and absolute satisfaction. إلا برضا مطلق صاف. Nor should you eat through asking. Through asking, of course, through asking. السؤال in Arabic could cover basically also, of course, asking is su'al. A question is su'al. But also begging like a beggar is also su'al. And I think that the third one is the letter is is reflected here in the Arabic. Nor should you eat through asking, and if you were to ask someone, then be careful of asking for your fill. Oh, that's another big mistake. على الملأ, it has been translated to your fill. Oh, it simply means it just means in public. That's really what it is. It's a big mistake. Be careful of asking in public. And here in English, it's the translation as if you are asking until you basically you fill your stomach or whatever. That's a big mistake. Perhaps you'll be given because of the giver's shame. Haya is okay. Rather than shame, embarrassment. You embarrass. Embarrassment, really. And that does not come with satisfaction. Does not come with acceptance, with agreement. Indeed, the one who is embarrassed would prefer the pain of giving up wealth to the pain of shame. There is no difference between you taking his wealth by beating him externally with a whip and taking it than by beating him internally with the whip of shame, of embarrassment. Each one is an unlawful seizure. Confiscation. Also be careful about someone giving you or giving it to you because of religion. Then he is giving to you because he believes you are pious and God-fearing, and thus you eat through religion. One of the conditions of its lawfulness is that there should be nothing inside you that, if the giver were aware of it, would prevent him from giving. There is no difference between someone who takes through or Sufism and piety when these are not his inward characteristics, and someone who falsely claims that he is a descendant of Ali radiallahu anh, in order to be given things. All of that is forbidden according to possessors of insight, even if a jurist rules that it is lawful based on the apparent meaning. So someone who claims to be from Ahl al-Bayt, really, so that he could be given a share. The second strategy is that you refer to your heart even if you are given a ruling. For indeed, sin is that which disturbs the heart. أن تراجع قلبك وإن أفتوك. What harms you is what knots in your heart. What harms you? Hawaz is basically that which influences, has an impact on the heart. It's like the impurities, not physical. When it talks بل ران على قلوبهم كران. So that which overwhelms the heart and becomes in control of the hearts, and sometimes we use hazaz. So it's that is why the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Consult your heart, istafti qalbak." Even if you are given a ruling, وإن أفتوك, even if you are given a ruling, وأفتوك twice in the Arba'in, in the 40 of Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, he mentioned this hadith with the following content: consult your heart. Good deeds is what you feel comfortable with, and the heart is in a state of tranquility. استفتِ قلبك البر ما اطمأننت إليه، ما اطمأنت إليه النفس واطمأن إليه القلب. And sin, wrongdoing, is that which basically where your soul becomes kind of itchy about it, and it simply fluctuates in back and forth in your chest. Even if people give you a ruling and give you a ruling, وإن أفتاك الناس وأفتوك. In some, however, know that the peril of that which is unlawful, that which is haram, is that it darkens the heart. In the hadith, the heart would becomes darkened. Okay, and it becomes like an upside down cup. it does not contain good. Just like if you try to put water in an upside down cup or any container, it will not hold it. And it will not know that, it will not differentiate between good and evil anymore, meaning it has been darkened totally. It does. So some, however, know that the peril of that which is unlawful, that which is haram, is that it darkens the heart spiritually, while that which is sought from the lawful is its enlightenment. This results from your belief, not from that which you believe itself. Thus, if someone sleeps with a woman, believing that she is unrelated, but she is his wife, he is subject to a darkening of the heart. Yet if he were to sleep with an unrelated woman, believing that she was his wife, it would not occur. فمن وطئ امرأة على الظن أنها أجنبية فإذا هي منكوحته حصل إظلام القلب، ولو وطئ أجنبي على ظن أنها زوجته لم يحصل. Okay. If someone sleeps with a woman believing that she is unrelated, but she turns out to be, she is his wife, but she turns out to be his wife. When he slept with her, he thought that she is meaning it's an act of adultery. He is subject to a darkening of the heart. Yet, if he were to sleep with an unrelated woman, believing that she was his wife, it would not occur. The darkening does not occur, and there is no sin included in this. One might ask, is this possible? Yes, it's possible. Tents next to each other. He goes to a tent and one tent is like the other, and one, it's possible. Houses being like each other, identical. There are many scenarios. But there was a case of two brothers and two sisters and it seems we talk about twins. It took place in Egypt, and they really did not look at at the time. There was no dating, and they did not know each other. Very conservative society. So it turns out that on the night of the wedding, it's not that they switched. There was a mistake, really, and it happened that each one of the brothers simply consummated the marriage with the other sister, with the other. And they just simply, the fatwa was they would complete with to just continue. That's it. So things happen. So he slept with an unrelated woman, believing that she was his wife. It should be enough for today, inshallah, and we will continue tomorrow بإذن الله عز وجل. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.